Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 449. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Augustiniak.
What's up?
Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, Season 10 continues with Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy. If you've been waiting for us to talk about this long-lost PlayStation 2 era midway classic, wait no longer. It's here. More on that in a bit. I want to know, what crossover would get you to play a game you otherwise have zero interest in? And I ask this, obviously, to try and get a way to convince Capcom to convince you to play Monster Hunter with me. But outside of necessarily Monster Hunter, what is a game that you've got zero interest in that you would suddenly, all of a sudden, want to play because of a crossover? So what game and what's the crossover? Mark?
I guess if something were to introduce Goemon, that's a sure way to get me involved. I would say Ninja Turtles, but I didn't even touch Smite when that crossover happened.
I did, and it sucked. Well, it was
the
thing
like
that
a paywall,
sucked
isn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't use the Turtles unless whatever, and then I thought it was something with Game Pass Ultimate that I could get it, but I couldn't, and it was a whole mess.
Because I played Brawlhalla when they did that crossover, and even that was getting like Fortnite expensive. How they were doing it.
Yeah, that's a
man. I guess if somehow if From Software somehow involved Goemon and did like their interpretation of it, I would give it a shot.
I imagine there's got to be some sort of reference or tangentially related thing in Sekiro somewhere.
Maybe.
I don't know the Goemon property enough to tell you, so.
Matt, what about you? What would bring you into a game you otherwise would not?
It's funny because I immediately thought of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and then I thought, well, I'd even play that shitty one, and that was that was a Metal Gear game. So that's not the answer. I then thought, oh, the Halloween movies, those are some cool things. I never played Dead by Daylight, the Halloween thing, so I was like, oh, that's not an answer. So I don't know. The two immediate things I thought of, I did not. They actually had crossovers or things like that, and I did not play.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, what would for you, like, what would get you to like, what would have to cross over with Sonic for you to like a Sonic game?
I don't know, dude.
Gameplay, Miyazaki.
Yeah, the Miyazaki Sonic game we've all been waiting for. I'm curious to see where Matt lands on Frontier once it comes out. Frontiers? Is that what it is?
The open world Sonic.
Yeah. Sonic of the Wild.
That makes sense. For an open
as
world
reductive
game.
as that can be. Yeah, I'm curious where that one lands for you. Oddly enough, my answer to this question was Monster Hunter, because the first time I actually was I'm gonna buy one of these was Generations Ultimate for Switch. When I realized there's the Zelda crossover stuff, there's Samus armor, there's all of this stuff mixed in. I'd later learned that you don't unlock that until you get all the way through to the way post end game, and I never got that far in that game. But now that I've gotten that far in Rise, and I know what it takes to get to those things now, like the 7-star whatever, I feel like, I could do it in Generations Ultimate. So maybe. But yeah, I don't know what else.
Oh.
Either way, I will email Capcom and ask them to start getting some Goemon content in Monster Hunter so we can.
I missed that on Michael Myers twice. I just forgot. I forgot that he showed up in a Call of Duty. I forgot which one, but he sure did.
Wasn't it Warzone? Or
No. Yeah, he was. They did the Michael Myers mode thing where like it's like
right.
12
I think it
people.
was one of
It's
the-
like hide and seek, kind of like it's.
Yeah.
It was like Ghosts or one of.
I was gonna say it
the-
was a Sledgehammer one, right?
I don't remember. It was around that time of like Ghosts and not the Future Warfare, Infinite Warfare.
That
There was
sounds
that
right.
space one that had the dude from Game of Thrones, Jon Snow, whatever his name is. I can't think of it off the top of my head now.
Kit Harington.
Russell
Kit
Crowe.
Harington, that's it.
I think it was Russell Crowe.
Yeah, you know. The warrior
Psi-Ops.
mathematician.
The who?
No, I said he's a warrior mathematician because he was in Gladiator and A Perfect Mind.
And that, yeah, exactly. Psi-Ops: The Mindgate Conspiracy is the game of this week. First released June 14th, 2004. Boy, what a year. For the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Windows PC. Developed by Midway, published by Midway. Back of the box reads, "Your mind is the ultimate weapon. As an elite American Psi-operative soldier, combat a terrorist movement using your extensive Psi powers, along with traditional military weapon combat. You got your telekinesis, pyrokinesis, mind drain, mind control, remote viewing, and aura view." I guess that's predating detective vision. Featuring Colds with My Mind music video, which more on that later. Yeah, of course, employing the Havoc physics engine. And the other interesting piece about this, this here Psi-Ops, is you could also play as a Scorpion. There was an unlockable Scorpion skin. And I couldn't get this to work, but, you know, listeners out there, if you're curious and you'd like to try this, at one point there was a free version released for PC in like 2007 or 8. The link I found was dead, but it was officially released from Midway, seemingly as Midway was on its way out. And it was ad supported. So it was free, but like as you were playing, ads would happen. And that was how they gave it away. Very strange. So
You wonder why they shut down.
There's a lot to talk about with Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy. I think a lot of my conversation around this game is really just about its absence over the last, 18 years and how it's not come back, because I feel like it's filled with ideas that are really fun game mechanics, but I think also would make, really, really interesting modern day game. Granted, Midway is under Warner Brothers now. Warner Brothers doesn't know how to make games, so
They're also
that's
about to
tough.
be under someone else.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the really weird thing. Like Warner Brothers, I'm being a jerk, but they're in a weird spot with game development stuff where, 3 of the major projects announced right now are DC properties. The other one is probably Mortal Kombat 12, but yeah, very, very weird spot. So let's talk first. Psi-Ops is a third-person shooter where you use guns and also the aforementioned back-of-the-box abilities to escape this facility that you find yourself in. Matt, you nominated this game for our list this year with strong feelings surrounding it and from your personal history with the game. But you played through this entirely co-op originally, which is something super weird. Like, they have that in this game, like full campaign, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to...
They hide it in a weird menu, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not the best co-op experience either. It's, I didn't get to do it I should have just booted it up with 2 controllers so I remember what was what. But like, one person is in control of like, I think, weapons and movement, and the other person's in charge of, I guess, yeah, one would be like the left stick and some shoulder buttons, and then the other person would be in charge of the right stick and other shoulder buttons or face buttons or something like that. I mean, it's split across 2 different controllers, but essentially that would be how the movement was mapped. And it would be like a one of those like a sandbag race where you kind of have to work together and in unison and have the same kind of mindset going into a situation, so that way it all is fluid or whatever. But yeah, me and my cousins played through a bunch of this game. I don't think we beat it on co-op, but yeah. And I know I think this was a couple weeks ago, we talked about the go-to Blockbuster rental you kept going back to. And I wouldn't say this was like the go-to one, but I definitely remember renting this at least like twice, because I never owned it. And just playing through it for that week or so, you had it. And yeah, it was wild and blow up people's heads, which was, I think, original in 2004. Yeah, I don't know. I just remember this being weird. I remember having fun with it. I don't ever remember beating it, but I remember making significant progress. And just being this weird game that I think just the box cover grabbed my attention kind of deal. And probably back of the box quote and pictures that went along with it. And yeah, I rented it, and it became a thing I remember.
Yeah, it definitely is that kind of Blockbuster shelf grab kind of thing. It has that box art to it. It definitely, I don't know, it's of that era. I don't remember if I remember seeing this game in its heyday or not. I know that when you brought it up, like when you added it to the list, I recognized the name, but immediately mistook it for Winback, as I mistake a lot of games for Winback these days. So I don't know. Mark, what's your history with Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy?
I never touched it when it first came out. Kind of similar to you, I guess, where it's just like the cover is definitely notable. It's definitely distinctive. I've seen it in magazine ads. I've seen it on TV. I've had people talk about it. I've seen people trade it in a lot or buy it. But yeah, I've never actually like dove into it. But it now, because I haven't played this other game either, that is probably nowhere near related, but I think just because the way the protagonist looks, there's a lot of that going on with that type of look, where they're like kind of like military looking, or like buzz cut, or like some like middle-aged man with stubble with a pistol.
You probably just named every Western developed game in this time frame.
Well, I mean, this would be years later, but it reminds me of Infamous.
He does look a little bit like Cole.
Honestly, it's something that was talked about for a good bit, I would say, right at the turn of the PS3 to PS4 generation. Like right before it, I think, is when I think things were most vocal. And then really the kickoff of that generation, and subsequently we've seen a rise in protagonists and playable characters that are not a white dude with a shaved head. And it's incredibly refreshing, even as a former white dude with a shaved head. I hated playing just because it was, man, like there were so many Cole McGraths, you know what I mean? And like it just was tired and boring and forgettable. Like they all blur together. Like now we have so many different playable main characters, and like there's unique characters and unique personalities, and people look different and they stand out more. And I think that's not unlike humans, right? Like we're all very different looking and I don't know, personality traits and things. And I think the character should reflect that. And now, thankfully they do. I think, I don't know. It's been a while since I've done that.
It's better.
It's better. It's not perfect, but I think it's a lot better. It's been a while since I've like sat down and like done that thing where you kind of look side by side at a bunch of covers or a bunch of characters just to see like, okay, what are the big things this year, But it's better. It is not a bunch of Cole McGraths.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think we did have that. I think from this Psi-Ops era through Infamous 2, you know, like like that whole chunk, it was nothing but that. Yeah. Certainly different. So Psi-Ops, I was actually surprised at how well it played and controlled. It sounds mean, but that era is not known for, like, it's... I don't know. I feel like every time I've gone back to a PlayStation 2 game, it feels worse than I remember it feeling. And this one did not. Like, this one felt good to move the character. It felt good to actually, like, aim and shoot. I felt like aiming was faster than I felt like it would have been. Does that make sense? Like, it... Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I mean, that's that Havoc
going back
engine.
to GoldenEye. Yeah. And, like, even after GoldenEye, the same folks that made GoldenEye left and made Time Splitters. And I remember when I was getting into PS2 stuff a little while ago, it was like, when you look up, like, best PS2 games or, like, stuff that you feel like you missed out on, everyone talks about Time Splitters. And I checked out Time Splitters, and I'm like, I wish I'd played this in the era, because it's hard to play now. It's so slow, it's chunky, it's whatever. And Psi-Ops did not have that. Psi-Ops was, like, fluid, and yeah, the story's, like, dumb and just so, like, I don't know, a lot of tropes and whatever, but it is also, like, I don't know, the main character is very blank, but I think that's where, like, the villain kind of stands out, and what's her name? Sarah? The,
Sounds
like,
right.
companion?
Sounds,
yeah, like, I think that's where those characters start to shine, because he's so flat. What's his name? Nick?
Generic white man, right?
Yeah, exactly. We always see his initial, his, like, first, I forget.
Nick
I
Psi-Ops.
can't recall.
But I mean, that's the point, right? Like, it's exactly that. But I think that again, I don't know. That was my big takeaway. Is like, I was surprised at how well it played. I think, you know, story wise, it felt a bit like oh gosh, there's something else I just played in the last few years that was very much like this kind of, like, escape this place kind of thing, and I can't remember at all now which game I'm thinking of, but, you know, it had that vibe to it, but it felt fun to play. The powers too, I think, are the part where this shines. Like, they're cool to use, and there's not I don't know, like, what other games do you feel have integrated stuff like telekinesis in a good way? Because I felt this was really well done.
Probably, I mean, my first thought is, like, psi powers equals force powers. So, like, like a Jedi Outcast is probably, like, the first game that kind of nails something like this. But when does Jedi Outcast, like, when do those 2 or 3 games come out, right? Like, because Dark Forces didn't really do it. Dark Forces was more of a shooter, I thought.
Yeah, I guess you'd have Force Unleashed later, but that would have been, like,
that's PS3. I mean, yeah, like, you know. Yeah. For sure, though, that's where I just the Havoc engine doing its thing, right? Like, you know, you think of, you bring up the time era, and when I first booted this up, I hated playing it so bad. I was, but then you think about it.
Or, like, this time around?
Yeah. Oh, God. It's just,
wow.
It's just bad. Like, the era, but it's the era. I took a step back and just remember, like, in 2001, you had the critically acclaimed Grand Theft Auto 3. Do you remember what his shooting system was? It was literally locking onto everybody because you really couldn't aim. Like, at least this had a third, like, your right analog stick aiming, which was probably still revolutionary at the time. You think of other games around this time period, like the Max Paynes and stuff. Like, Max Payne, it's doing similar things in terms of shooting and control and things like that. Max isn't, quite as stiff. Or, I don't know, maybe Max is tighter to control than fake Cole, but yeah, no, like, I hated it for a second, but I kind of, like, rewound, like, I took a step back and I was like, all right, yeah, this is tough to play in 2022, but in 2004, this actually probably controls very well and works quite well, and the fact that they pull off the powers the way they do, and the shooting's not terrible. Like, it could have been better, but it's not terrible. It suffices. And honestly, by the time you get powers, you're shooting less and less.
Yeah, I think this is perfect for PC. Just the way it's designed, just like having a mouse be your aiming and then just move with the WASD controls. That seems like the best way to go about this sort of game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And like flicking like your mouse to throw an object feels more natural than holding the right stick while doing whatever.
I'm like trying to remember other games that had telekinesis like that where you did. There's something I can't remember. Sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
Oh no. I agree with Matt. Definitely like the Jedi Outcast series would have it, but Psychonauts, I'm not sure was on this level of like where you could just kind of like mess around and do whatever. Because like games like this, because with the Havoc engine, like it's all about the physics and what you can do with it. So if anything, Half-Life 2 with like the gravity gun or like stuff like that is what like I'm thinking of is a product. And I mean, again, that's not telekinesis, but
no, but like that, and in Dead Space, you've also got kind of those elements as well, and like you can see that like kind of lineage, and BioShock had it as well.
Odd. Red Faction doesn't have telekinesis, but Red Faction Guerrilla, just the fact that I think that was Havoc as well, but like that and Fear, the way you can like mess with like the way you can mess with your surroundings and the enemies and just kind of do it your own way. I love it when games give you that option to just kind of approach it any way you want to.
If you didn't
and
know,
Red Faction had the collapsible walls and all that fun stuff. Yeah, it was different, but yeah.
I was gonna say, if you didn't know any better, the first couple levels of Fear look exactly like the first couple levels of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just way, if only you had like a nail gun to pin the enemies in Psi-Ops, but like
right, but no, like the fact that you can play with the environment as much as you can, like just tossing them off ledges. I think there's like a furnace in one room. You toss the dude into the furnace, you just watch him burn alive. Like,
I think this is of that
really
era
good.
where you can play around and the game can become a sandbox. I think we would later see like Control do that really well, where you could try different things in the environment with telekinesis. But this definitely started it off, like throwing boxes at people rather than shooting them or whatever, throwing people at people. That was always really fun. The thing I noticed right away, so one I really liked, like at the very beginning before you really are integrating powers into anything, I found the lockers and I was opening them like all the kids in middle school who liked wrestling, where just punching them and the lockers fly open. It took me back to in middle school, there was a kid who every day at the end of the day, he'd march over to his locker. And this is probably, a couple years earlier than this game came out, but maybe they were watching him in middle school and learned from him how to open lockers. He'd come over, he had cowboy boots with spurs, he would kick his locker so that it opened, pull his backpack out. It was a Stone Cold Steve Austin backpack. He'd powerbomb it, and then he'd put his books in it, and then he'd leave school for the day. So I felt like that took me back, which was a nice memory. But I did feel really immediately in this game that Metal Gear Solid 2 had a huge impact on the video game industry. You could see where they were like trying to like do the cinematic stuff and really like do the Kojima thing here.
They were also trying to encourage sneaking around a little bit as well.
Yeah, which
never worked.
No, it did not. But
just for reference, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight 2 is out in 2002.
Okay, so yeah.
No, at least on PC. I don't know when it comes to Xbox. Actually, I'm sorry, I should have looked at that. Xbox and GameCube.
I don't think it's too long after, if not the same year, because then like within that maybe like a year or two later, like Jedi Academy is out. Like it's not a big gap, I feel, between those games.
Actually, I don't think there is a gap. Sorry. Yeah, no.
Maybe like a simul release.
I just think they had them separate because of console versus PC on Wikipedia. Yeah.
The game's also a lot bigger than I anticipated. I think not only in length but also in budget. Like there's voice acting, there's scripting, there's a lot of like, there's a lot to the game more than just like, okay, it's a shooter where you can move stuff around. Like, they put a lot of work into building this out into its own like fully realized thing.
Like, I don't think I think we take lip sync for granted when it comes to like animation, especially in the PS2 era, when you can actually. I feel like towards the end of the PS2 era is when like a lot of these games started to shine more with like the animations, but we were already jumping into like the next gen, so like we weren't probably as focused on it. But
no, but this still did that stuff really well.
Yeah.
Like I think for the era, like I was surprised a lot at this game at like how, I don't know, advanced seems weird to say in 2022 about it, but yeah, I mean, looking back in hindsight of that era, it did have a lot going for it.
for sure. And it's like the cutscenes weren't like super duper over the top cinematic, but you could tell it was still like in game versus like pre-rendered just CG thrown in there. Mm-hmm. And that's I think that's always more impressive when you can just use the in-game models for everything.
Yeah, and it made me wonder, like, you know, this was 18 years ago. Obviously, Midway collapsed and whatever, but like, why was there not another one? You know, why since has this not been tapped back into? I feel like the concept is, the story's throwaway enough, right? Like that, whatever. But you could do something with this, right? Like you could, I mean, bare minimum, they could revive it, and we'll talk, not revive, but re-release it. And I think we have, we'll talk about that in a little bit, a little segment we've got to revive it. But, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's something more to it. You guys have any final thoughts on the game itself as a whole? Any other call outs?
It's a fun sandbox, but it almost plays like a, I don't know, just with the story being so throwaway, some of the characters being so throwaway, a lot of levels starting to look the same after some time. It really becomes more like a tech demo for what the Havoc engine could do, and it becomes repetitive almost. It was, once I got TK, as they call it, telekinesis, and I was throwing people around, I had fun for a half an hour, and then after that half an hour, I kind of was like, all right, how many different ways can I throw a dude off the ledge? All right, it's cool, I can suck their brain power now and recharge, but like, that's fair. And I know you get more, powers later on, like enemy control, and you use that for some of the puzzle design and things like that, but like, the telekinesis is like the main thing you're using time and time again, and it's just a matter of like, how much are you going to do that? And then the gunplay is not good enough for you to kind of run and gun. You're probably going to die, especially once you start getting like the heavier armored dudes and stuff like that. That's my thing. Like, I think this is like a fun, like, let me sit down and play something real dumb and have some fun for an hour or two. And you kind of get, through that first boss fight, which is unique enough. Like, you have to throw dudes into that, into those cloning machines or whatever to destroy them. Is a clever mechanic there. But, once you got to get back to the main game, you're still just doing the main telekinesis, throwing people around, like puzzle here and there with telekinesis or mind control or whatever. It's, you're just doing more of the same until probably the next boss battle. So yeah, I don't know. It loses its dumb, fun tech demo appeal, I think, quicker than I would hope.
Yeah, it kind of put all its,
that's fair.
It kind of put all of its attribute points into like gameplay.
It works. It works. I can't discredit that. Yeah. It works, but it's just how many times, how many hours can you do that?
It almost looks like it was supposed to be a Wolfenstein game originally. And then, like, it kind of, like, turned into something else. But,
did they use one of those Wolfenstein engines? I didn't even double-check that, but...
Yeah, that I'm not sure. Just like, the enemy types and everything, it just, like, this type of character, it was giving me those vibes. And doesn't that main character have, like, Blazkowicz, doesn't he also have like a shaved head too?
Yeah, for sure.
Can't.
Yeah, I don't see.
I know it's Havoc, but I can't find another. I can't find.
Yeah, because that stuff is like
engines.
definitely out there. Yeah.
Oh, and like the funny thing is when the game logs like how much property damage you've done.
That is kind of that's some fun stats.
It's just like a useless feature, but interesting. I can't remember if what was it? I can't remember if the Rampage games did that, where like it tallied up like how much like destruction you did and like in money or whatever, or was it like Star Fox 64 where like I think your high score was like the bill that needed to be paid because you were contract workers or something like that. But I just thought that was a neat little thing.
If the PC port of this was still like active and around or whatever, someone should mod the property damage for current inflation in 2022.
I think it is still available somewhere.
Okay, all right. I was scared to click on things. That was, I think, my problem. I'm so used to like a Steam, Microsoft Store, one of the 80,000 launchers that are out there that I have on my PC. I think it was just weird to go to like File Planet or website called Major Geeks. Like,
Major Geeks is the host of it now.
Yeah.
Is what it says on Wikipedia. So, yeah. So of this era, though, I think this one definitely got kind of trapped there, so to speak. What other games of that era seem kind of lost to time? Matt is like chomping at the bit.
This is cheating a bit because it's Midway again. But those extreme sports games like Blitz, Slugfest, Hits, you'll never see another one of those again.
Come on, don't say never.
You'll never see, two reasons. One, no developer is going to risk trying to do one of those again. EA already tried to do it with Blitz and it failed miserably. And the license, the actual leagues themselves, they do not want a MLB Slugfest game where, like, they don't want a batter and a pitcher brawling to promote that for kids or whatever. It's not a good look for them anymore. So
that sucks.
Welcome to 2022.
Yeah.
That's going to be all stuck in that time. I mean, they might do different things, but it could be so tame in relation to what it was.
Mark, what comes to mind that's just trapped in 2004 or around then?
Legacy of Kain.
Sorry,
especially more so now since that Unreal thing presentation happened and Crystal Dynamics announced another Tomb Raider is going to be made, and it's like, yeah, that's what we needed. So
I know I can't be with you too much on that because at least I've had those two Deus Ex games, but I'm right there with the boat of like, can't you all make a third Deus Ex in that trilogy and finish it off?
like even that could be like I would be happy for that too, you know, just. So yeah, definitely that, and this is a oddball answer to tag along with that, but Sonic Battle.
I don't remember Sonic Battle.
So this is on Game Boy Advance, and it's like it's an arena-based fighter that uses sprites, and the whole point of the game is like you have this robot. You can also play Sonic characters as well, but you have this robot for the campaign that learns everyone's moves, and you customize all the attacks for it. But yeah, it's just like a 4-player brawler game. But between that and then like Sonic the Fighters, there hasn't really like those are the only two Sonic fighting games. I think we could have another one that isn't Smash related.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough characters with enough variety. And have you ever been able to play as Robotnik in any of those?
No.
Because that could be interesting.
Yeah, closest
Or at
thing
least
would
do a
be
Pokemon trainer thing with Robotnik and some robots.
Yeah, closest would be Sonic R if you like shoot a missile at somebody as Robotnik, but that's about it.
I've got a couple of weird ones.
I
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can confirm Robotnik is not a playable character in Sonic Battle.
Yes, Matt can confirm as Sonic fan number 1, right?
Right, I'm not looking at a Wikipedia page. I just recalling it from memory of my time with the game.
I figured, yeah. The first thing that came to mind was Okami. Now, it's a little weird because Okami's been re-released, at least, but, like, it seems weird that they haven't done a sequel to Okami. This is also going to be real. I'm bending the rules here, but Final Fantasy X. I think that yes, there was a 10-2. I got it. But, like, I feel like today, when people get nostalgic for Final Fantasy, they go back to those first 6, maybe, but really they go back to 7. I don't think 10 gets I remember 10 being huge at the time. We just talked about 10 last week, but I think 10 was big, and it just doesn't get kind of, I don't know, regarded the same way that it used to. And I think that, yeah, the sphere grid, I think the change to the battle system, I think was enough that, like, maybe not that we need a 10, but why haven't they revisited the sphere grid? Why haven't they revisited some of those other ideas introduced in 10? And maybe not even Square, but any developer, right?
Funny enough, though, in 15, I feel like you got a little bit of sphere grid back. Not entirely, right? Like, where you can kind of cross character paths because you don't control everyone in 15, but you could see some of the inspiration I think they may have had there.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, it's not. I mean, it's definitely not the same. Where like I said, by endgame, you could have Titus cross over with a level 4 key or whatever and become a black mage, or whatever. Yeah, that's not possible in 15.
Yeah. I've also got down Chaos Legion.
I was gonna say that one.
Was that yours?
It was almost one.
I was thinking about this because of, I mean, Astral Chain happened, but, like, I was just trying to think of, like, what are those one-off random, I think I feel like Mark's going to say this one, but God Hand is another one that, like...
That's a good answer, though.
Why not? Like, where are you at?
I'm surprised they didn't put that character. I think his name, what's his name? Is it Gene?
No.
I forget what his name is, but it's probably not that, but I'm surprised they didn't put him in any, like, Capcom fighting game.
Yeah, that would make sense, actually. I think that there's one I've not played through it yet, but I'm like ever curious about it for PS1 called Kudelka. It's like a survival horror. Exactly. You both just made the exact same face of like I've never heard of that. I hadn't either until I signed up for that Video Game History Foundation, monthly magazine subscription thing, and I've been getting more and more old gaming magazines and flipping through it. I just had this full page ad for something called Kudelka, and I was like, what? Because I had made that the same face you guys just made when I saw the actual physical ad, and it was like, what is this? And then I dove way into like learning about it and seeing gameplay and stuff, and like just a weird PS1, that era survival horror thing. Takes place in like a Victorian setting or whatever, but like super gothic, super whatever, and it just one and done, never again.
That, I mean, just that. The survival horror genre, I mean, lives on in different ways, but like that style, the tank controls, the isometric views, like, you'll never have a Resident Evil game like that again. Silent Hill was more behind the back, but there was elements inside, right, where it was kind of like more fixed camera. Dino Crisis is stuck in that time for forever, it seems like, besides that
No,
fake
they're
Dino
making
Crisis,
that new.
right? Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean... Like, I feel like that era of survival horror is like, I don't know if you want to call it the golden age, but like, I feel like that is what you would call a WWF era, like a Ruthless Aggression or an Attitude era of survival horror in that time.
similar to Chaos Legion, I always pair these two games together because I played them around the same time, and they kind of remind me. They always remind me of each other. Chaos Legion and Nano Breaker.
Nano Breaker sounds familiar. I don't remember what that is though.
I think I'm sure I've brought it up before on the podcast, but like, it's just like a dude with like silver hair, and he has like a weird energy sword or something.
Oh,
it's
Sephiroth.
just like a hack and slash.
You're talking about Sephiroth.
It's got like sci-fi armor, but yeah, like it's just another like hack and slash game. But they always remind me. I think they had like similar covers where it's just like mostly a white background with just a protagonist on it.
Yeah, Sephiroth.
I think Nano Breaker is Konami.
It is Konami and produced by Koji Igarashi.
The way you held up your iPad for a second, I thought you had the game. And you were like,
I did
I
too.
have this game somehow.
Here it is.
I knew you were going to bring this up. So,
the weird thing about this game is that the main character's name is Jake, and he does not look like Jake.
that's such.
I mean, look at all these.
We
look
want
at
the
all these
American
names,
audience.
though, on these characters. You have a
It is. I mean, yeah, this
Michelle
is
Baker, General Nate
Yep.
Raymond. It's like the
Yeah,
Final
this is-
Fantasy 16 of Konami characters.
right. Like, why? Where do they? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they did what we do, right? Like, what are some common American, right? Just like, oh yes, Jake and Keith and like, yeah. I've also got down Gun Valkyrie, which was an Xbox. I never played it, but I've just seen it.
Sounds familiar.
I think like pop-up magazine ads and stuff. But it's like a Sega published mech game exclusive to Xbox. And then this last one, I've got. I don't know. You may disagree, but it's called Eternal Ring. Developed by From Software for the PlayStation 2.
It's because there's similar titles doesn't mean the gameplay is any.
Oh
comes,
no, totally different.
No, I know.
Totally different.
Comes that kid.
Yeah,
back in high
I've
school,
looked into
bringing
some of
carrying the box
these
around.
games. I've looked into some of these games. What'd you say, Mark?
I
I'm sorry
tried
to
this
hear
one.
it.
Oh, I can't remember if I told the story before, but like there was a kid in high school, separate from the kid who would bring Halo 2 to school and pledge with it. This was another kid who always had Eternal Ring in his backpack, and he would like
yeah,
read
you
the
talked
booklet.
about this before. I
Yeah.
think you talked about this around Christmas when we had that. We were talking
Yeah.
about the Christmas shoes.
Yeah, he would read the booklet on the bus and everything, or in class. Like he was just obsessed with it.
Was his favorite band Nightwish?
It probably would be. He was definitely
Okay.
like he would probably LARP if you asked him to.
Well, how about
That makes
Cold?
sense.
Was he a fan of Cold?
Oh, you're gonna take us back there, huh?
Might have been.
So,
He wore
the
trip pants.
special features for Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy. I had to scroll back up in our notes to double check the name of this game again because it's the. Yeah, the special features section of this has some, or not special features. Is it special features or
I
extras?
think it's extras.
Yes,
Which is where co-op is
Extras.
buried.
right. Of course, has a cold music video, and I completely forgot that Cold was a band. I completely forgot that I owned not one but two Cold CDs. And then as I'm revisiting and listening to some of these songs, my mouth is unwillingly saying the lyrics aloud in time. I remembered everything. I was so baffled that there was one, something so terrible that I knew so intimately. And two, like, what other things have I completely forgotten about at this point? Because granted, let's see. This was that. I mean, listening to Cold probably was like 20 years ago at this point, right? And I mean, I remembered all of it, and then it all came flooding back. Where I'm like, oh man, I remember exactly who I was. I remember why people didn't date me. Like now, it all makes sense. Like I get it now. This much later, but like, what else? Who was I? a totally different person, completely different person. I guess before we move into this like next little talking point, is there anything you've come across, I don't know, as we've done this podcast, as we've done anything, where you've completely forgotten an element of your personal history that just came, as we've gotten older, just came flooding back to you?
Honestly, as we go along, it's probably all the things I missed as a child with you two.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I think the whole like trademark thing that we have is kind of, I mean, a lot of that is based on my upbringing and just with the way I approach games. So like there's always that constant reminder there, but I'd probably have to go like before high school for things to resurface for me. Whereas it's like elementary school and then like maybe some mostly middle school stuff, and it's like, holy crap. Video game wise, I'm not too sure. But other things, definitely.
Yeah, like you sent me, Mark, a few, I don't remember when it was. I don't know, it was pictures from a yearbook. And it was the section of the yearbooks from the early 2000s when they used to, and maybe kids write in, podcast@thefreecheese.com, tell us if they still do this, but they used to do these things in the yearbook where it would show you like important events that happened that year in pop culture and whatever, and like,
yeah,
some of those things, like just having these flashbacks to like, I don't know, man, like, I don't even know what was big that I completely forgot about, because I feel like some of the stuff's like so obvious, but like, I don't know, when Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen got their own TV show or something, whatever, like there's like, I feel like they were always in that section for something, like this is the year they did this is the year they did that, this is the year they killed that guy. There's all of those things like in the back of the yearbooks, and I feel like some of those, I had those moments where I was like, oh yeah, I remember that, but like, hearing Cold again was something completely different than remembering Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Is Cold the band with like the spider logo?
Yep.
Dude,
do you know how bad it was? Remembering the spider logo, I remembered I used to draw that spider on the back of my hand in class. Like, it was bad.
There was a version of you in my school.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was.
There was the Eternal Ring kid?
No, different kid, different. Well, see, the problem is that I went to two high schools, and like at this other high school,
just for fun, like
yeah,
you get out of class and go to the other one, and
doubled up over time.
I got sick. Yeah, I cut class to go.
They
to
got
another
better
class.
chicken patties over here.
Gotta get double pizza day, you know. But
yeah,
no, but yeah, this kid, yeah, he was super obsessed with Cole. I never listened to him, like,
don't.
But like he had all the T-shirts. He'd always drew the spider on his hand and on his binder, and
yeah, like kill me, like, oh my god, I did not realize that's who I was, and then it all came. Man, I was terrible. It was awful, terrible. Kids, if you're out there listening to Cold, please stop.
Hey,
please do not.
But you know that all that shit. That's what those are the building blocks to what makes you today, right?
Yeah, I just feel like I could have done a couple things a little bit earlier had I not been listening to Cold.
Yeah, then the butterfly effect happens, and Ashton Kutcher puts a bomb in your mailbox. So,
all right, fair enough. I guess if we were going to build an extras menu for tomorrow morning, Warner Brothers puts out a press release. Hey, we're re-releasing Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy. And we would like to reimagine it for a modern audience, right? The game's going to be the same, just up-res and whatever, but we want to put some special features in there. Are there any like contemporary game demos that would make sense for a re-release? And are there any special features you'd like to see kind of packed in the box?
Well, I would like to see a re-recording master track of the Cold music video we got.
Did you watch the Cold music video, by the way?
30 seconds in, I couldn't do it anymore.
Same, but what I did notice is they did kind of integrate it with the actual gameplay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's some crossover in the...
Yeah, I was actually pretty good with the game, and then I saw them in the basement or whatever the hell set that was, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Directed by Mark Webb, you know? who would later go on to bring you The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 and 500 Days of Summer. And he made all those good AFI music videos and My Chemical Romance music, whatever.
Hey, it's a job, right? Not all, not every job's a good
one.
Yeah.
I say you keep all the original stuff on there, but definitely was it a trailer for The Suffering? Because that's actually a fun game. That's probably a game lost in that era as well. And then that game has its own extras, which are actually pretty cool. Has like a little documentary about like the location of where it takes place. It's that prison overseas near us. I forget the name of the penitentiary.
The one where The Rock took place?
Maybe?
Outside of San Francisco?
No. Like it's actually near us. Near
Baltimore.
Why did I say
yeah. Because it all takes place there, but the second game, The Suffering, actually takes place in Baltimore City.
Oh, that's weird. I just said the name of the Harry Potter prison, not the actual fucking.
I think is it Eastern State? I don't know. I can't remember. The name of it.
Eastern State Penitentiary sounds familiar, but
Alcatraz.
That also might be an episode of Fear from MTV.
Maybe.
Alcatraz is the one by San Francisco.
That's the one. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like, keep all those old extras on there. But as far as new ones, man, I wouldn't even know what would you put there. Would you do more music videos, or would you do more like behind the scenes stuff? Would you do more? Actually, yeah,
I've got the answer.
I think I would love to just. The Suffering, you won't be able to do the same thing here, but I would love to put every trailer for every Mortal Kombat that has come out since Inception, just to kind of show age and progression of time.
I think doing like a Half-Life commentary kind of thing would be cool. You just run through the game and hit the little bubbles, and like they give you, this is what because like Alan Wake did that with their HD re-release or whatever. Like, I always like that, just taking a tour through the game and just hearing what they were thinking.
Yeah, I was actually pretty disappointed to see that there was not an official Games Done Quick of Psi-Ops, because I wanted to hear kind of those weird things and I couldn't find anything in that regard for this game. I wanted to hear like some of those.
I didn't end up watching it all, but it was some kind of like European, like I guess I don't know if it was their version of AGDQ or whatever, but it just didn't it didn't seem like in the same format, so I didn't know if we were getting any of that good stuff.
And like
that stinks. Yeah, I wanted that kind of breakdown.
Yeah, like who picked Cold? Like why? What was
right? Yeah,
why not? It was 2004, right?
I guess they were hot. Apparently, I don't.
Probably a puddle of mud or cold, right?
Oh man. I say you make modern tech demos of Midway franchises.
Ooh.
You contract it out to different developers, and you say, all right, pick a franchise, make a tech demo of how you would revive it. You put those demos on this disc or in the special features menu, and gauge interest in a revival series for all of them. And here's your 5. Ready? Hydro Thunder, San Francisco Rush, Rampage, Spy Hunter, and Carnival.
All right.
Just do them all, man.
Let's add a bonus gauntlet in there.
All right, I agree.
Or Blitz.
I was thinking about Gauntlet earlier too, but then I remember we did have that 2015 one, and
yeah, but that was.
I know.
I think that's the people who did Magica did that one.
Yeah,
which isn't bad. But that's it.
Man, Hydro Thunder! I would kill for Hydro Thunder.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think you can get it on backwards compatibility, by the way.
Carnival, though.
I think you can. Yes. I think I've seen it.
Carnival would be super dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Carnival.
Get away from that one rail experience and just flesh out being in a fucking carnival.
Oh, that'd be cool. But you did have that thing from the Until Dawn people a couple years back, the VR, PlayStation VR thing that kind of worked.
Yeah,
right,
cool.
right.
Yeah, like do on rails VR stuff would be perfect. That what was it? The House of the Dead remake would benefit from that too.
I want to grab that, but I heard some control things from our friend Sandeep.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'll probably wait on that.
Hey, they fixed that Panzer Dragoon thing though, so maybe in time.
Hey.
It is time for us to rank Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy. Every week, we talk about another game, and every week we rank those games on a big old list that we call The List. You can follow along at home, thefreecheese.com/the list, and check out where everything ranks currently. I'm going to give us a minute to think. And in giving us a minute, I'm going to read our 13 from bottom to top real quick for the listeners, just because it's been a while since we've checked in. So from the bottom up, at number 13, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Number 12, Sunset Overdrive. Number 11, Devil's Crush. Number 10, ESPN NFL Football. Number 9, Valis 3. Number 8, The Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap. Number 7, SSX Tricky. Number 6, Guitaroo Man. Number 5, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Number 4, WWF No Mercy. Number 3, Res Infinite. Number 2, Portal 2. And number 1, Wii Sports. So, Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy.
I would say right above Minish Cap. I think if you put these two games next to me, even though like Psi-Ops has its blandness, the gameplay alone, I think I would enjoy far more than traversing through Minish Cap.
Man, so
where are you at, Joe?
My gut was around like the Devil's Crush, Sunset Overdrive area.
I was also tangent to Sunset Overdrive.
Well, not because I think this one is bad, right? But, you know, bland. But then the way Mark positioned that, and specifically put it against Minish Cap, I'm like, you know what? I think I do like this over Minish Cap. I think I like it less than SSX Tricky, but I think I do like it over Minish Cap. It's weird, though, because then I look at it and I'm like...
We could put it lower. I'm fine with that, too.
No, I think I agree with you. Like, my gut was definitely way low. Like, maybe above or below Sunset. But... yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I just realized I just did put it above Devil's Crush, didn't I? That feels dirty.
Yeah, but we also put all those other things above Devil's Crush, right? So it's...
I mean, yeah.
It's going to be a big list when we're done, right? Like, we're...
Yeah, like, the game isn't, like... The game doesn't feel offensive to me. Like how Sunset was offensive to me.
I feel like, honestly, there's a really weird thing with this list we've got going on now, where Sunset and Billy Hatcher are at the bottom because they're at the bottom, but, like, while they are 12 and 13, we're filling out 45 games this year.
Yeah.
And I think those might be your 44 and 45 at the end of the year. Yeah, I don't know.
Billy will definitely be 45. I will... Sunset might actually not be that low later on. I don't know. I think Sunset has good gameplay. It
does, dude.
Actually, what I was going to... I mean, we can go higher. I'm not going to be the one to drag it back down, but, like, I was underneath Sunset. And I think my reasoning is the kind of outlasts Welcome a little bit, and I think Sunset managed to kind of keep my interest longer before I wanted to wrap it up.
That's fair.
And then when, like, I kind of take that argument, kind of going up the board, like, all right, yeah, pinball, like you can only do so much for like an hour or two, but at least I would want to revisit pinball to try to beat my high score. Football, that's just a weird comparison there, but like, you know, the 3 hours in Valis 3 and the challenge, like that kept me interested and wanted to complete it. Also, like I wanted to see the conclusion of my Saturday morning cartoon. And then like you get up to like, you know, where you said Zelda, and like I just think Zelda's a solid game that I would just keep playing. I unfortunately did not get to finish Zelda, but it was not because like I got tired of playing it. It was because I just the time around I played it, time got away from me.
You were very close to the end though, and I think like if you weren't tired of it, I think the other thing with Minish Cap that works against it in mine and Mark's favor is it's not
fair.
It's not one of the few Zelda games we've played. It's one of the many, and I think like when you start to compare it to other Zelda games, Minish Cap just feels like another Zelda game.
Fair.
And I think that for you, it's like, you know...
Yeah, I've never played Link to the Past, the sequel to Link in the Past, which I think is like the one as far as top-down, right?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Link
Between Worlds.
That's it, yeah.
I should revisit that now that I've got... Yeah.
Then the sequel to that,
anyway.
which is Triforce Heroes, but yeah.
Oh, I gotta buy that in the next month before. Yeah. This is tricky. I like how weird this list is getting now, man. Okay. Let's do it this way.
Why don't we meet in the middle of between Zelda and Sunset, and we put it in between Valis and ESPN?
I can live with it there.
I'm good with it there. Let's go with that as a default. Let me try this out. We haven't done this one in a while. Is Psi-Ops better than Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is Psi-Ops better than Sunset Overdrive?
Yes.
I don't know.
Shoot. All right.
I don't. There
Sorry,
is a
Mark
lot
got
of
us somewhere, and then I took us away.
There was a lot of fluff in Overdrive, though, that I did not care about. I mean, at least this one was straightforward. It was just a matter of how long are you to keep my attention, kind of.
You know what? I'll be honest. Like, Sunset was a game I put on the list because I was excited to go back to it, and I was excited for you guys to experience it. And for me going back to it, I was like, oh man, what a hog this game is. Just because of, like, I think open world fatigue at this point is probably the thing.
But I also think that's another game of its time, though. Like, everything started to have that open world checklist. Like how we just said, like, this game, you know, is generic bland characters, generic bland setting. It's gray. I guess we never talked to like it's gray, but it's gray.
No, yeah, but it's
it's weird. I think it's unfair to say like, oh, Sunset, you got the open world fatigue. Yeah, because we're still kind of in that fatigue now. We're starting to see new tropes to that kind of evolutionize that. But I mean, that is a game in its time. Like, I think that's the definition of that, right? I don't know. It depends. I mean, as far as back to that question, is Overdrive better than Psi-Ops for me? I don't know. It starts to get weird for me there. I in my opinion.
Yeah, and then if I keep asking that question, then when we get to Devil's Crush and ESPN, it's harder. But I didn't feel bad with Marks above Minish Cap, and I don't feel bad with Marks between Valis and ESPN.
I don't think I hate it above Minish Cap, but that's where we're leaning. All
right, then I think let's stick with where Mark landed. Between Valis and ESPN, does that feel good?
Yeah, that's fine. ESPN's that is such an outlier compared to the rest of this list right now.
Yeah, but it is. I don't know. I feel like I went too low on ESPN. Like when I think back to it.
Well, yeah, the crib. Don't want you to forget about the crib.
Really did hurt that game. But yeah, well, it's good. Look, man, they're all getting on the list. I dig it. I dig it a lot. Well, that was Psi-Ops, the Mindgate Conspiracy, a PlayStation 2 classic from Midway. We're going to keep things going with PlayStation 2 actually for the next few weeks. Stay tuned to find out everything that's on its way. But next week, we are going to check out ESPN X Games Skateboarding for the PlayStation 2. I'm very excited about this one. As someone who, I don't know, as much as I guess unknowingly code defined me, skateboarding video games and skateboarding culture certainly defined me, and I'd like to think still do. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this one holds up and compares to the Tony Hawk. And also, like, now we've got some modern day skateboarding games that are doing things differently, so I think it's gonna be a very interesting conversation. And yeah, we've got, I don't know, man. It stinks that this list isn't out there yet for people, because I'm excited for everybody to see what we've got going on this year. But doing some forward planning and everything, I'm stoked to see how we all take to these next few weeks of games. More on that next week. Until then, thanks for the recommendation, Matt. Thank you for hanging out with me, Mark and Matt. And thanks for hanging out with all of us, listener. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week for X Games Skateboarding. Bye.